around show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy, ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
It's celebration time down here in Miami and in Washington, D.C. and in, I don't know where Vish lives, where Blue lives.
Dude, are you looking at the chat? Hold on, I had to cut you off. Sorry.
Partly in Boston because I have power.
I mean, this is how big the win was. Jack Daniels freaking showed up for the Kane show.
Oh, man.
It's been a hell of a couple of days, man.
Unbelievable. By the way, if you haven't rewatched that game at least 2 or 3 times, are you even really a fan? All right.
No.
All right. What a game. Miami, obviously, as Vish would like to probably say, beats the brakes off of Texas A&M. So, listen, it was...
Yeah, beats the brakes. We're trying to keep it G-rated, sure.
Right.
That was not what I was shouting during the game.
Nope.
And my left palm is still sore because I kept punching it like I was out for blood and I got it.
Yeah,
so,
you did. Yeah, you did.
That was an enjoyable experience. What's an Aggie? An Aggie is a team that showed up and lost. I don't think it's an actual thing. Something they do with farming and their agricultural something or other. But
losers. Gotcha.
Yes, losers. Shorter explanation is losers.
This is gonna turn into annoying Miami Hurricanes.
I mean, look, as much as we want to spend the hour, talking about the Bethune-Cookman game, which is only in 3 days, we should probably talk about Saturday's game a little bit.
Just a little bit. We'll talk about it a little bit. I want to kind of get your guys' take on the stadium was rocking. I mean, according to some fans from Texas A&M, it wasn't loud, and then someone said that the Texas A&M crowd was loud. I mean, we need to stop. Just stop it. Stop with the excuses. All right. Miami wins 48-33. It was ugly.
Jets.
Yeah, I know. He didn't get carted off, but he was limping off the field. He's already done. Let's call it what it was. I mean, it was kind of dicey, right? The first 5-10 minutes of the game where Miami made some critical mistakes in special teams and gave up, two scores easily, and it looked like, oh, here we go, right? Miami's getting punched in the face, they're getting knocked down. Is this going to be the Miami team that gets right back up and punches back, or is this going to be the team that quits and lays down and goes through the motions and quite frankly does exactly what they did last year? And it was the opposite. It was the former. Miami stood back up, punched right back in the mouth, and just ran. Not, I don't want to say ran away with the game, but kind of just put the clamps down and went to work, man. And it looked like a completely different Miami Hurricane team than I think we expected. to see against, the truth is a pretty decent Texas A&M football program. So I want to get your takes on the game. Blue, I know you were down on the field early. Early in the game. You got to see some of the players. I'm sure you got to see a lot of the recruits, as the recruiting section was absolutely packed. We got it. By the way, we got a recruit as well who just committed. So we'll talk a little bit about that also. Big time prospect in next year's class. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's talk about this game as a whole. Blue, you kind of got to see it from the field level, and then you got to see it up top. What'd you think overall how the Miami Hurricanes played this year? This past Saturday.
I think Tyler Van Dyke kind of put it into perspective. He says, just walked up and he says, we would have lost this game last year. I like that. And that just shows where they're at as a team, as a unit. It's one of those things that you watched, and I agree with him. There's a lot of phases of that game where Miami, they just would have folded up their tent. After Jacoby George's fumble on a punt return, why he's back there, I still have no idea. He has no reason being back there. He really doesn't. None. Zero. Miami's going to sacrifice maybe a potential big play for actually having possession of the ball. That's the end of the game. And he was asked that at the end of the game, and he says Restrepo is just reliable that and he was. He came to play. But I think I'm just you expect him to make mistakes. And I know that a lot of people don't hear it, but A&M was a pretty good team. They weren't awful. They made plays.
That's not a bad team at all.
More plays. And they showed heart. They showed hard work, and they showed a superior coaching staff. The coordinators dialed up things that last year they wouldn't even dream of. And they have the personnel. I thought A.J. Allen would carry the ball a lot more than he did, because Miami going tackle to tackle was useless. Because that's part of Texas A&M's game. That's their strongest, from their ends to their tackles on defense. And Miami kept running into the teeth of it, but you know what? So be it. But I thought A.J. Allen's the only type of runner in there that could do that first plane and go outside and then turn it up and maybe go 70, 80 yards. Miami doesn't have a back that can really do that except for him. And I don't know if he's banged up. Nobody really asked the question. I think when you win, you don't look at things like that. Tyler Van Dyke looked like a potential NFL player. He made plays. He saw everything, kept everything in front of him, got some really good receptions, but he picked the right guys out. And, he played like everybody thought he would play. And this offense is made for him.
And by the way, you gotta give props to that offensive line who kept that pocket clean for Tyler Van Dyke all night, all afternoon, I guess you could say. I think Blue, the biggest thing with the run game is that they obviously were just. I think they used the run game just to keep them honest. Look, 7. I think it was a total of 77 yards that we rushed for. So it wasn't a huge part of the game, but I think you saw the evolution as well of this coaching staff and Mario putting more trust in Coach Dawson and saying, I think the old Mario might have said, you know what, I'm going to be stubborn and we're going to keep trying to run the ball and we're going to keep trying to do this and keep trying to do that. And he kind of took a back seat and said, Coach Dawson, do your thing. And you saw what Coach Dawson, what he was able to do with the passing game, right? We all knew that he can do that with the passing game. We saw him scheme up some incredible plays. I mean, that one touchdown to Jacoby George in the end zone where he motioned him and then flared him out again. That was an absolutely brilliant play. So I think that what you saw is Miami say, we're going to throw on you and you're not going to beat us. And that's exactly what they did, right? They went outside. They threw the ball down the middle of the field. They threw it anywhere they wanted, and they were able to get yards Tyler Van Dyke made some NFL throws. I think that out route to Restrepo in the corner, right before the end zone. Restrepo made an amazing catch, but that was an NFL throw there. You saw some deep balls, right? Everybody complaining that we didn't throw the deep ball against Miami of Ohio. Yeah, we kind of threw the deep ball a little bit against a better team, right? So, let's kind of temper that. You got to understand that, the game plan and the scheme. This guy, Coach Dawson, knows how to
Yeah, and I think the other thing is Texas A&M set up to stop the running game,
right,
and they did, and they were crowded inside, and they bet that they could, with their corners, cover our receivers, who, if you recall, coming into the game were supposed to be a weakness,
right,
one-on-one on the outside, and they lost that bet badly, and as everyone's saying, TBD was awesome, but our receivers also burned their corners repeatedly, and we've been saying for years, like, we should be able to beat one-on-one coverage. We are Miami still, even when we're not Andre Johnson out there. You're still generally better than the guy across from you just on talent. And it was nice to see that for a game. Just they could not cover anyone going up the field. We saw Horton catch the big touchdown pass at the beginning, which kind of opened things up. It was the first time we really hit him up over the top, but just the whole time it was Restrepo up the seam on the first drive, just got vertical on them because they were sitting inside. And actually, one of our effective running plays at the end when we were trying to run the clock down was actually we put Chaney in at fullback. It was still the shotgun. But we had two backs, and then we actually were able to run it a little bit because now the numbers made more sense. But rather than slam it against, shout out to our boy Gaddis, rather than slam it into a stack box and get no yardage, it's like, screw this. I'm going to take it over. I'm going to punish them for playing that way. So the offensive line did fine. They couldn't open up holes because they were outnumbered on those run plays. But in terms of pass protection, they kept Van Dyke clean the entire game and allowed him time to get down the field. And the other thing is he's always been able to, we've seen him throw. I mean, that clip of what is wrong with us in the game is me defending him last year. So I was like, you think he sucks all of a sudden? Everyone kind of jumped on him. But I think what stood out to me is something he kind of had lost a little bit last year, just the confidence. Because some of these throws he wouldn't even have attempted last year. And he's dropping balls into places that it's very difficult to do. And even stuff like the guy gets a step and he throws a perfect pass, so we score a touchdown. Right? Remember how bad the red zone offense was last year? Even if you hesitate a little bit, you might end up kicking a field goal, but he's hitting everyone in stride. And then finishing those plays, the receivers breaking tackles left and right. So much run yardage after the catch in that game. It was a physical domination. And I think as much as they're obviously very talented and 5-star kids, this is Jimbo Fisher's 6th year there. They've had time to build in their strength and conditioning. One of those teams was clearly tougher than the other one. And as Jess, as you point out at the beginning, those, and Blue said as well, those starting the game that way, mistake on the kickoff, should have just kneeled it. Getting the punt blocked. They're starting inside the 15-yard. They're in zone that quick. Last year's team, that's about it. That's game time. It's done. They kind of roll over, get back into the game, and then muff the punt. So do it again and almost like reset it. And just from that point on, once they started playing clean, it was not even a competition as to who the better team was. And it was, even as we were trailing most of that first time, when we took the lead, like really on the last few plays of the half, the whole time you're watching, just like, we're so much better at this team. We just got to stop screwing up. And then the second half, they made a couple of mistakes, and it was game over. And also, shout out to local kid Amari Daniels, got in the end zone, threw up the 305, but then forgot about what the 305 was actually about. And Jaden Davis reminded him later in the game when he popped his ass and forced a fumble that basically ended the game. So shout out to him. Don't come back home and do this crap. You could have stayed home if you wanted to. Anyway, I was fired up, and I still am. I know I'm never going to be able to use my left hand again, but that's all right, man. We got to sacrifice for these wins.
and listen, speaking of that, I mean, Jaden Davis, coming out party for Jaden Davis here. I know he transferred from Oklahoma, and he wasn't really seen as this guy that was going to come in and be a difference maker or even be the first guy that you think of at cornerback. And obviously he started the first game, which is a little bit of a surprise. Played well, but then started the second. I mean, he had an absolutely incredible day against this Texas A&M defense. I mean, making tackles left and right, popping some guys, TFLs. He had that forced fumble. He had an absolutely incredible day. Looked like the type of guy that I think coming out of high school, people thought Jaden Davis would be going to Oklahoma. So really excited to see what he did. And on the other side of the ball, I know you had a mix and match, but you had Daryl Porter played really well. Corey Couch got an interception at the end of the game, so he played really well. So you had some guys out there that really, really looked good on the outside. And I think that it was unexpected, I think, for Texas A&M to see how well the secondary played. Of course, we can mention the safeties with James Williams and Cam, and prayers up to Cam, but he's apparently from all the signs, I don't want to speculate too much, but it looks like he's doing well. He was already at practice yesterday, so really great sign for Cam to see him out there again. But those guys, I mean, Cam was having an absolute lights out game as well the whole game, and so did James Williams. So
yeah, and I think I think James was a good one to call out, because I think Cam, unfairly we expect it. He's one of the best players in the country. James Williams has always been that, why isn't he doing what we think he should be able to do? He is now.
Right.
So I think that is we're starting to see that.
DJ, I want to get your take on what you thought was the most impressive thing out of the game. And I know you had some issues watching the game sometimes with some power, but just based off of what what was the most impressive thing that you saw?
One of the things that really stuck out to me was, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, but the play design of Coach Dawson, particularly on the Colby Young touchdown, where Young kind of motioned out to the right. That gave Tyler Van Dyke a nice, safety valve, security blanket throw in the flats for a touchdown. It wasn't anything too complicated, but it gave Van Dyke a high percentage throw. And that was one of the things I honestly prefer the offensive side of the football. I love offense. And that was one of the things that I was kind of watching throughout the game. Just the ability of Van Dyke to execute in this offense. We were kind of worried, like, how would the air raid, style of offense fit with this group of players, and would Tyler Van Dyke be able to fit? I think it's a really good fit for him, and I think it can play to his strengths. And that throw to the flat to Young for the touchdown, I think was the perfect example of that. And Young's second touchdown of the season, I think he has 150 yards overall in 2 games. So we saw him play at a high level towards the back end of last season, and he's carrying it over and becoming, that big playmaking threat on a team with a ton of depth. And that's going to be important, come the later stretch of the season.
Yeah, you're right. I think that, he's kind of solidified himself as a big-time NFL wide receiver and potentially a wide receiver 1. The problem is that Jacoby George is doing his thing, and so is Xavier Restrepo.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a really good problem to have. So we'll definitely get into that before we go on our special guest of the evening. But let's give a shout out to our sponsor before we do that. Let's talk about Prize Picks, baby. Let's talk Prize Picks, Daddy. It's prizepicks.com. Log in. When you fill out your info, type in the word 5, F-I-V-E, and it will match your initial deposit up to $100. It's real easy. You got big payouts up to 25 times what you put in, which is great. They've got here's how it is. Here's how it works. Let's put it that way. You pick 2 to 5 players, choose the over/under on their individual categories, and win some big bucks there. So make sure you check them out. Go to prizepicks.com, log in. Put in the code word is 5, F-I-V-E, and they will match your initial deposit up to $100. It's real easy, folks. Go check them out. It's prizepicks.com.
And prayers to anyone that put overs on Daniel Jones yesterday. That didn't end your way.
No.
Big win, Vish, for you, huh?
Oh, yes.
Big win.
And speaking of random Cowboy stuff, should we bring our guests on?
Well, we must preface it by saying that this person is wearing special fancy attire today. And so without further ado, we have the ever so fashionable hoodie girl, Miss Mel. Look at her, even modeling, doing one of these.
Give Mirabal his limbs back.
The quote of the day.
Specifically because
don't bring buckets onto this show. What are we doing?
Blue wanted to ask tough, hard-hitting questions, and I think that, all
It's gonna be the shortest guest appearance ever after I throw you out of the stream for that. So.
She was talking all about Jesus, tailgating. While we were tailgating, it's blue, it's blue, it's blue. Well, here you go, Mel. You got blue, and you want to talk to blue. Should we all just get off the screen and let you guys?
Yeah, I think I gotta go now. Something came up.
Blue is so elusive. I don't get to chit chat with Blue. You know.
Yeah, but you got a cameo appearance from him this weekend, so you really can't complain. He
is legendary, but he is legendary. I mean, you guys say it in your own intro.
I just want to say, DJ, thanks for putting on the fan.
I thought about you today.
The fan is on, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man.
Just for you.
He brings tight ends and fans to the table.
Down their house again, right?
I think the fan might be the most famous inanimate object on this show.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love it. Absolutely. You're welcome, Blue. Anything for you.
I think from now on we should put as our logo, it should be the fan with a U on it or something, right?
I love it.
That'd be
love it.
Mel, we were talking about just the whole game in general, and obviously, a lot of exciting parts, offense, defense. The question I want to ask you right off the bat is the most impressive thing that you saw out of this team, whether it's offense, defense, mentality, whatever you want to call it. What's the number one thing that you saw that was the most impressive to you coming out of that win?
I mean, that's hard to pick. I mean, I'm not used to having a million things to choose from when it comes to positives from a Canes football game. It's been a while. But I think the most impressive thing for me would probably be how we responded in the second quarter after all the special team errors and going down 10-0 and then 17-7. I think the bounce back from that and responding and that drive, that 2-minute drill with in the last minute of that second quarter was the momentum swing in that game. To march that, for them to miss the field goal and then for us to easily march down the field and get a touchdown right before the half, it was huge because A&M was getting the ball to start the second half. So to go up, and then we never gave up the lead after that. A&M got to within one, and then Brashard Smith returned that kickoff, which that might have been the loudest I've heard the stadium the entire game was that kickoff return. That was
the loudest since Trajan Bandy's pick 6 against Notre Dame. Okay,
I'm saying I almost fell over the seats because we all jumped up. But yeah, no, honestly, for me, the bounce back after and responding to adversity after kind of that really crappy start. People were getting a little bit negative on Twitter. I was following online while sitting in the stands, and I was like, "Chill out, everybody."
You violated Rule 1. Don't read Twitter.
Yeah,
yeah.
People were tweeting at me, and I checked my mentions, and then people were freaking out. So I tweeted out, "Everybody, calm down," and it's all right. And then in my head, I was like, "Vish says we're gonna destroy them," so I knew it was coming. I was waiting for it.
Just to be clear, following my predictions generally ends poorly, so you got away with one there.
I needed something to keep the faith, so I was like, "I'm gonna channel Vish's good energy that we're gonna destroy them," and it worked. We came back.
There's only 2 people on this show that picked them to win, and that's Vish, and the other one is me. All right.
I also picked them to win.
The other 2 got something to answer for, these 2 over here.
Well, I also picked them to win, both on the You Heard pod and then on our little 2-minute video right before the game started.
Just saying.
Yeah, we only acknowledged a 2-minute video. What is this other network stuff you're doing?
Yeah, right.
Actually, there is video proof of me picking us to win this game at the end of last season on one of Coop's live streams.
Oh.
And Coop was like, people made fun of me, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "I don't think A&M's going to be good next year. It's Jimbo Fisher. We're going to win next year." I have to find that clip. I called it all the way back at the end of last season.
DJ, what'd you think of Cam McCormick, man? Caught a ball, nice 20-yard crack.
The tight ends need to get more love, and they did on Saturday. And then, you know what? I have a big mouth. I'll eat crow. I predicted Texas A&M to win, and I'll own up to it.
I like it. You know what, Blue? What'd you think of?
8-4 now.
Yeah.
8-4.
Slowly, Blue's changing it up a little bit now.
12-0.
I told you every week we'd have changes.
I'm back on it. 11 wins.
Blue just has to win every time we win.
DJ and I stepped in the 7-5 hole.
I know.
Are we both in agreement? 8-4 now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to eat crow. I think again pretty soon. So
forget about eating crow. You adjust it every week.
Welcome to the life of a sports analyst.
I said 7-5 or 8-4, but A&M was one of my wins. So
Well,
I'm not changing.
Oh,
I'm not
wow.
changing my prediction
If
yet.
we lose five games after here, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't see
Well,
five.
North
losses
Carolina and Clemson showed a little vulnerability, so
Yeah. And Florida
Yeah,
State
but the
was-
bad thing with North Carolina is I'm going to that game, and if you guys know about my atrocious road game record,
Well, we're on a winning streak now, so
Yeah, so you need to
after
we finally
losing
finally attended a Canes game together and won. So
after
there we
losing
go.
every single other one. So
baseball
yeah,
game in the Final Four.
really quick before we finish up Texas A&M. I mean, how impressive was that wide receiver core, right? We talked about all these other players that are going to potentially be, getting some play time. And the truth is, man, we had 3 or 4 guys, right, including Zay Horton, who, I mean, those dudes they're dogs, man. We're talking about Jacoby George, who made a couple of mistakes early on in the game, and again, that's about, that's the culture, that's the resolve of this football program, right? He obviously, Blue, we talked about it. You spoke about it earlier, right? That he has no business being the punt returner right now. It's got to be X, right? X is the most sure-handed guy out there. You got to put the best guys out there. But he came back, and as a receiver, he was solid. I mean, solid is an understatement, right? He had,
he was.
Just that one drop.
Was it 3 touchdown? Yeah, he could have had 4, right? He could have had 4 touchdowns. But he had was it 3 touchdown catches or 2? It was 3, right?
I think it was 3.
Yeah, 3 touchdown catches. Obviously, the game sealer, if you want to call it, at the end, where he got almost his helmet turned
Adjusted at mid-run.
180 degrees.
It's amazing.
And then took off, and then still beat everybody to the end zone. So that was really impressive on his behalf. Obviously, you saw Kobe Young make some big plays. X made some of the biggest plays in the game, if you ask me. That corner catch that I talked about. He also had that long 60, 50-yarder, whatever that was. 6 catches.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was really nice, right? 6 catches, 126, I believe. For X. So he had his best game as a Miami Hurricane so far, as from a receiving and yardage standpoint. So, those wide receivers stepped up. And, what we thought would be more of an issue because, we didn't have necessarily that, wide receiver 1 yet. You're starting to see Kobe Young emerge as that NFL/wide receiver 1 guy. You're seeing Xavier Restrepo do things that a legitimate NFL slot receiver can do, right? So you're seeing that, and then you're seeing the emergence of Jacoby George, who I know that Vish knows this, Blue and DJ probably know this as well. I've always been a huge fan of Jacoby George. I thought he was going to be the guy last year. He had some issues last year, but now he's turning into, one of those guys this year that can go out there and make some big, big plays as well. So I think you throw in that Zay Horton 52-yard touchdown, and you've got yourself a pretty legitimate wide receiver core now, and you've got yourself one of the, what looks like, a comeback for TVD as one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Hopefully he keeps it going. So that offense as a whole has really taken some huge steps. Credit to that offensive line for keeping TVD clean the whole night. And, of course, credit to Shannon Dawson for putting together an incredible scheme the whole time. But the truth of the matter is I was equally impressed. I know that the score looks a little weird, right? 33 points, the defense. I was equally impressed with that defense and the way that they handled what is a really, really good, if you ask me, a really, really good SEC team in Texas A&M. I think they're going to do some damage in their conference on their side in their division. I think they're going to be really good. And you saw, and I know Mel, I saw you mention it in the chat earlier, Connor Weigman, who is a big time quarterback as well. I think that's a good team. That's a good team, and the defense showed out, and that linebacker core really played really well. But the secondary was a talk of the town for me. That secondary played absolutely incredible. So I was really excited to see what they did. But now, the truth is, they've got to, they had the 24-hour rule. We practiced today, and now it's on to Bethune-Cookman. Someone asked Mario.
I hope you don't expect me to break down Bethune-Cookman.
No, that's what we brought Mel on for. No, I'm just kidding.
She might actually be able to name a player. I'm sure Blue knows the whole roster. Actually,
no, I've been following hoops rumors all day. Don't ask me about Bethune-Cookman.
Trust me, Jalil Bethea, trust me that this is a question for Blue, but the truth is, Blue. Someone asked. I won't name any names that everybody knows. Who's asked a really dumb question earlier today, as far as playing a lot of people and getting a lot of kids in there. And I mean, you gotta know that that's not Mario's mo. That's not how he operates. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna respect every team. He's gonna put in his guys. He's gonna want to dominate. And then, of course, if it's a dominating game and they're up by 40 points or whatever the case is, you're gonna see some of the other guys. But the fact of the matter is that right now, every single game, you need to go out there, you need to execute, and you need to win, and you need to play really well. And look, Bethune-Cookman is not obviously not a great football program as far as level of competition. But Blue, they've got some players over there. What can you expect from a team like Bethune that's going to come out? Is it really the battle of the bands, or is Bethune got some players out there that could give Miami some trouble?
Well, they have the same type of kids as they, usually always do. I mean, it's kids that come back or, kids that go there. I mean, from the beginning, they have very few players that were recruited right out of. I mean, the kid. Well, actually, their backup quarterback Walter Simmons, Miami was on him back in the day, and then he's out of the same areas, Chance and Rivers from Oak Leaf area. So I mean, he was one of the guys. But other than that, they really don't have much. I mean, I was examining their schedule. I mean, their roster, and they don't. I mean, to be honest with you, they don't. I mean, when you look at Savannah State, I mean, weren't those the two last team that Miami put 70 on? Bethune and Savannah State.
Yep.
They played last
I remember
week.
the Savannah State game. I was there.
Yeah, who won tickets to that damn game? I don't know. I wouldn't have kind of gone, but now they've got, like I said, I mean, they have kids from here that were probably, just on the line, and because it was the HBCU school, they figured, let's go there. We'll get a, good education and stuff. But that program's, I mean, if we said, Florida A&M's coming into town, and, they pegged the meter a little bit. They got dudes, good coaching staff, but I'm not taking anything away from the kids that go to Bethune. It's just that they're not 60 points better. Miami's going to beat them. Miami's just going to beat them by whatever they want to beat them by. Right. And I agree with you, Jazz. You come out there with the ones blazing. I mean, you get that 35-0, 40-0 halftime lead, and then you start inserting. But you got to use those guys. I mean, again, they're coming off a 5-7 year. So who are they to, they come up with one significant win. And then now they got to treat it just like Michigan, or just how everybody else does when they get Oregon. When you get teams of this caliber that you should be beating 70-6, you beat them 70-6.
Right.
Sorry, that's just the way it is. I mean, everybody else does it. Back in the day, they used to single out Miami, in the early 2000s or, in the 80s for doing that, for putting 70 or 60 points on the board. Oh, you're running it up. You're running. There's no such a thing as running it up anymore, because Miami's got those 2s and 3s that are really good, and they want a chance in the second half and the third and fourth quarter to do what they do. And Mario won't call off the dogs. I mean, this is his, what if somebody goes down? What if Tyler goes down?
Well,
what if one of the backs or DBs go
guys
down?
that you might not normally see, because
you got to give them play, and even in the first half,
you'll
see. I expect to see but I also expected them. These are the things, and I said this last week on the show, that I thought we would see more of AJ. We didn't see as much as I thought it would. I thought we'd see Ray, get him in space, see how he does against a Power 5 type of team in space, because I think that's where his value. He and Bobby Washington right now, their values, along with Tyler Harrell, are to get those guys into space and let them use that 4.37 speed.
Right.
And that, to me, is something you'll see a lot of. You're going to see maybe jet sweeps. You'll see, an occasional, maybe a bubble screen, just things that will showcase these young kids. And And then defensively, same thing. I think you'll see like Popo will play a lot in the third and fourth quarters just to get him some play with some of the, because this. I don't think that Bethune has a second and third team. I think, especially in this game, they're just going to be playing everybody they could, that can do something positive. Yeah, I don't. Bethune's okay. I mean, and I recognize a whole lot of the names from the kids that when I covered players around the state. But other than Walter Simmons, nobody really pegged the meter as a top kid. Now, but Florida A&M has dudes. They have kids that, that went to like Wisconsin and Tennessee and Michigan and came back. And Bethune, not so much. And but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for these young kids to get some play, and I think they'll get them the next 2 weeks. Temple will be a much more of an upgrade because they got some fairly decent kids. But this is what it's all about. Next 3 weeks, Miami gets set for that huge stretch run, and I think by the time they go in there, even against Georgia Tech, I think that they're going to be ready to, they'll have some depth that played, and that's important because you couldn't just, I'm not saying that Ray or Bobby or any of those guys shouldn't have been in last week because they should have got some playing time, but I can understand why they wouldn't.
Right.
You didn't want to. I mean, even though that game ended up the way it was always fairly close. And anything could happen, and they scored quickly and. I know that Vish was banging on my boy at running back, but he had 16 touches. You know what? So if you're ever going to sell somebody on going to Texas A&M, I mean the kid had like 5 out of the backfield and 11 things, and I don't know if Miami really ever recruited him hard.
Well, Amari Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh.
Amari, yeah. I don't think they really ever. I mean, it was one of those things.
Yeah, they had
at the time they had Rooster and they had Cheney, and I think they thought that that's what they were going with. But but I won't say the same for Shamar Stewart. Did he ever make a play?
Well, that's
I think he was in there for like a handful of plays.
Did he ever make a play? I mean,
no, I think he had one play against.
I think he had one like a half tackle or assisted.
Okay, so it doesn't always work out. It's not always greener in
spend more time running his mouth before the game. It's never greener in College Station. I can tell you from experience.
All right, we got a question.
Don't go there.
From LMV has a good question. I was on another live, and there was a debate on whether TVD should even play at all. How do y'all feel about that? Yeah, I don't think there's to me there's no question. TVD has to play.
Yeah,
and get he's got to continue with that momentum. He's got to continue
without question.
Well, even beyond that, this isn't the NFL. You don't play 17 games. You can't afford to lose any of them. Right. There's no preseason. Our schedule's been kind of out of order. This is our preseason game. This is the only time where you can really just like not worry about losing. Because as Blue said, look, we're not going to lose to Miami over Ohio or Temple. I also said that before the year started. But you can't screw around in those games. You do actually have to play. You can screw around.
It's the Ed Reed revenge game.
Yeah. I mean, you can screw around and beat Bethune-Cookman. Like you could just call the same play on every single play and win the game. This is the game where you get your starters in there, you get them work, where you allow them to work against live competition without worrying about, TVD's not going to get hit a lot.
Right.
You're going to be able like that. You need this game. They absolutely have to play a good chunk. It stinks it's on a 5-day. You'd like to have gotten more rest in between the two games, but that is what it is. But no, I think they should at least play a half. Like I think you got to get them there. This is your last real warm-up game. Because even Temple's on the road, like you got to travel to that.
Right.
Like this is kind of it before you hit ACC play. So you want to make sure you get them good reps.
Here's a second question, which is actually a good one. Who's the number 2 quarterback Thursday night? Is it Emory Williams or Ja'Cory Brown? I think
Emory Williams.
I think it's Emory.
I think
you're saving more significant snaps with the two.
I think they're going to get both of them in there. And
I think they're saving Ja'Cory for bigger games for certain packages because Dawson's, or I forget if it was Dawson or Cristobal. I think it was Dawson who said he's like, I have 4 games for each of them. So I think the plan is to redshirt both of them, but I think you save Ja'Cory for other games that you're going to use him in certain packages.
Yeah, but I think that kind of tells you that the writing is on the wall for Jakari Brown also, right? Like I think at this point, the development of Emory Williams has been light years ahead of what Jakari was when he came in here, and
The offense fits better for Emory.
it does.
I mean,
It does.
quite
Like,
frankly.
I think this is a good. I mean, it's not a bad offense for Jakari Brown because
No.
it's set to his skill set too with a lot of that RPO stuff. However, from a passing perspective, Emory Williams is already a more developed passer than Jakari Brown. Nobody has the skill set as far as athleticism that Jakari Brown has. He's unbelievable. He could probably be a wide receiver, honestly. If he can probably switch positions and be really, really nasty at wide receiver. So
Or an H-back because he can run. So
yeah, or he's tall. He's big enough, right? 6'4",
yeah, he's big enough.
20, so
hey, Mel, are you drinking out of a Chick-fil-A cup?
I
Damn
did
right.
on purpose. It's apple juice in a Chick-fil-A cup.
All of this is to
Right.
taunt me. This is
we had Chick-fil-A sauce.
you know,
and
in my moment of glory, conquering old demons, she taunts me. She comes on here.
Well,
I like it.
I mean, Vish, we had a good weekend. The Canes won. The Cowboys destroyed the Giants. I mean,
Chick-fil-A sauce. What do you? I mean, come on.
Hey,
now.
the Rams won.
Oh yeah, there you go. You're a Rams fan. That's right. All right. So, any score predictions that you guys want to do, or are we gonna stay away from the score
Well,
predictions?
just real quick on the quarterbacks. I think Melissa's right because Shannon Dawson did say like he only wants to use each of them in 4 games.
Yeah.
And frankly, Emory Williams will benefit more from playing in garbage time in this type of game than Jakari Brown will. And Jakari Brown's definitely a more capable guy if you're trying to situationally sub in for a package to bring something different against a better opponent. So it feels like you would kind of save him for those games. Like you're not going to bring Emory Williams in for like a goal line package against Clemson or something, right? But you might do that with Jakari Brown.
Right.
So you don't want to like use him against Bethune-Cookman. In terms of long term, we'll see. They're not going to be the only. I'm assuming TVD goes pro after the year. They're not going to be the only 2 quarterbacks on the roster. So a lot of change will come before either of them are kind of anointed the next
That's true.
one.
That is true. You guys want to do score predictions on Bethune?
a lot to a little.
Hey, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it last year? It was like 70-13.
Yeah.
We killed them last year. Everything was all good for a game.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be something like that.
I went to that game. It's the only win I saw in person last year.
It's going to be something like that. In some recruiting news before we get out of here, big time commit we got. Was it today? Yeah, Wade and Charles.
Yeah.
The big time wide receiver.
It was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? It was yesterday.
It was
You're
yesterday.
right. Wade and Charles, 2025 kid, big time prospect, 6'3", 180, 190 pounds already. Blue, you've probably seen him play a little bit. This is a kid that is already very recognized as one of the top wide receivers in the 2025 class. Miami looks like they got a good one there. Beat out offers from I think it was Georgia, Florida State, Alabama,
Auburn, I think.
I think Auburn and Oregon was on one of the other ones. Big time kid. Talk to me a little bit about Wayne Charles.
Yeah, huge. When I talked, I guess when during the spring, Kevin Beard told me, he says, listen, we're going to get this kid because this kid is what we're looking to get to at the next level. And I watched him. I watched him when he was at Somerset Boynton Beach or Summer, whatever they call him up there now. But then he transferred, and he's a man-child. As a 9th grader, you could see how impressive he was. And, he's a game changer. Big time, is he Jeremiah Smith? Time will tell. I don't know if anybody in college is Jeremiah Smith. I mean, that kid is – what a game he had the other day.
Yeah.
Against the number 1 team in New Jersey. 376 yards receiving. I just had the quarterback, CJ, on the show tonight, and we talked about him. And, that kid may be as good a high school football receiver as I've ever seen. And I've seen Andre Johnson and Jerry Jeudy and, Amari Cooper and those guys like that. And this kid, 6'3", 200, 4.36 40. Great route runner, great blocker. A different level kid. Yeah, but Wade and Charles is like that. Miami recruits like that, and they'll continue to be better and better to the point where because he's like you just said, guys. I mean, he was recruited by Alabama and Florida State, Auburn, some of the elite teams in the country who, I just think that all Miami, and I think Vish said it, all Miami has to do is keep winning. If you keep winning and you get pledges from these kids who are 5 stars, and I talked to Andrew Ivins about that tonight, and you look at IMG, if they could tap into that IMG future, obviously Ellis Robinson and Stone are not going to go there this go around, but their 2025 class is stupid. So, I mean, if Miami could start tapping into those and everyone's seeing Mawanoa and guys like that are coming from IMG and playing a key role and winning and beating SEC schools, those kids will want to come. Miami's a great place to be, weather-wise, 365. So, and there's, in the off-season, a lot of fun things to do. So, I mean, and these kids, they hang. That's the one thing. That's how 7-on-7 has changed recruiting, because these kids travel to Vegas and LA and Chicago and Detroit and Dallas, and they don't just sit in the Holiday Inn, I can tell you. So, and they become real good friends. And that's how a lot of these kids, hey, man, I just committed to Miami or Colorado or whatever. Hey, I'm one of the 82 guys that came into Colorado. I want to see who's going to be the first guy to find ineligible players at Colorado. How do you bring in 82 kids and they're all freaking eligible? I mean, I want to see. I want to see how that happens. Come on.
Look,
I mean, they are kind of fun.
I don't wish
they're really fun,
bad, but there's got to be something going on, right?
There's got to be something. But I'll tell you what, Shedeur is a beast. He's a beast.
Yeah, he's not bad. I will tell you this, and I know you mentioned this earlier about some of the IMG kids, and you see what they're doing now. And some of the guys like David Stone and Ellis Robinson and so on that are committed elsewhere. We all know this. We all know what happened with David Stone already. But I honestly would not. I wouldn't necessarily take the foot off the pedal when it comes to those guys and their recruitment. I think you might see some things change if some guys, if the Canes keep on winning, they keep on doing the way, playing the way they're playing. But also if some other teams are not playing as well, right? You've already seen some decommitments from some other SEC programs.
Florida.
That had some big time 4-star and 5-star guys, and not only that, but you spoke about JJ earlier, right? Jeremiah Smith, and
the players are working on him.
The Hurricanes are doing everything that they need to do so far to get a guy like that to open his eyes. And you see the players, right? You see obviously like the James Williams and all that, but you also see some of the guys that are already recruited, like your Chances and JoJo Trader and all these other guys that are kind of in his ear still. And he was, he's down here for the game. He's watching.
Yeah. No, I understand.
You never know. He's going to be tough. He's going to be tough to pull. You never know.
If Hartline stays, then that's a done deal, because they're going to lose Harrison. They're going to lose Joey Porter Jr. So they're going to have a void. Ennis got some play time. That's what it's all about. If you show Jeremiah or any of these top flight kids that the kids that came here this year are already getting in, like what's his name from IMG Academy, he's already got in significant playing time as a wide receiver there. So that's all. It's just you got to show these kids love and continue to show it. You can't back off, like you said. Absolutely. And even though that David Stone may be headed to Oklahoma, or even what's the name, the DB out of Venice, everybody went to see him on Saturday after the game. The kid had transferred from Sarasota Riverview, who's a beast.
Better than I do.
I'll think of it in a second. Charles Lester.
Oh, Lester, yeah.
And they played Northwestern on Saturday night over at Traz. So a bunch of the recruiting nerds went over and watched them and gave me, their opinion on them. And I already knew to kick a play, and so he's another one. That Miami desperately needs an abundance of cover corner kids. Their safety position. Look, you know what? The whole thing is to bring back about James Williams when you're talking about him. It looks like he's having fun. And I haven't seen him like this since his freshman year.
Talking trash, marrying people. Yep.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
But even what he's doing on the field, you see him leading on the field. That in the first game, the Saints got that sack because of James Williams, because James pointed out the lane. And you see him was clapping at the corner or something when Jimbo was saying they were imitating the snap count. I'm like, no, he wasn't. He was telling the corner something. You see him leading on the field. He's a completely different guy from last year, and he's healthy.
Yeah, he finally figured out he's 6'5", 230 pounds.
Right.
I mean, it took him a while, but even when he hit that kid and knocked his head off, and everybody was waiting for it to be a target, and he kind of knew it wasn't, so he was kind of, you were thinking, wow, he's a cocky son of a bitch. He's going around thinking I could just knock people's heads off and not get kicked out of the game. But he kind of knew all along, that he hit him underneath the shoulder. So yeah, I like that. And, in the post-game press conference, everybody they had on, heaped all the praise on Cam, and that's such a good thing. He's our leader, he's our heartbeat, he's our heart and soul, and prayers go to him and his family now. And yeah, you see, to me, you didn't have that last year. You didn't have somebody. And I think Tyler Van Dyke. I thought that was the entire press conference. I walked out and I said to Manny Navarro, I said, of all the things said in there, the thing that kind of stuck with me was when Tyler Van Dyke, who's your offensive leader, said last year we would have lost this game. That's all I needed to hear, because now everybody's got everybody's back, and I think is
and Blue, to your point, I think there was problems in the coaching staff. There were also problems in the locker room. A lot of those players that left weren't bought in to that team mentality. And yeah, there's a pecking order on our team. It's understanding that, who the leaders are in the team and following their lead. It was almost like an every man for himself last year. And you could see that, if I'm not getting the ball, I'm not blocking on this next play type of stuff. And that's kind of been rooted out. There's a different mentality across the board there. And that's why they got up off the mat. We mentioned George had a rough start. Restrepo dropped a big third down on the first play, the first possession of the game, that led to the block punt, and they kept their heads in the game and were catching everything after that. So there's a lot of change happening there. And look, the one thing we can't really discount here is that the Miami brand is cool. It just is. When the team is good, people want to be a part of this. It's a cool brand. That's why it's popular even when the team stinks as a brand. And so I think that carries a lot of weight too. People want to be part of this program and they want to say they're from the U. There's all this stuff going on there that frankly the horrible football is drowned out that comes back up when you play well. And the last thing is, look, I'm not going to yell at a child, but
I don't even know why you give him the time of day.
But he's not of age, so we'll be kind here. But dude,
there's a ton of improvement in our receivers.
I don't think we've been doing this show a long time, Jazz. I've never actually been speechless. I don't even know where to start here, man.
I'm not even going to entertain stupidity.
3 years we've been doing the show. I think 3 years.
I'm not
was there drop passes? Yes, but the wide receivers are a lot improved from last season.
There was drop pass, right? It was just the Restrepo one in the first possession.
And Jacoby, the end zone.
Kobe Young and Jacoby each had one too. That's whatever. It happens. That's part of the. Yeah. Listen, there's always going to be one. There's always going to be one.
And Kevin Beard's going to get that right. It's week 2. Their route running was great. Look how wide open some of them were for some of these passes.
They did. That's why I'm not entertaining that That's stupid.
Well, and the other thing is, look, the myth of there's no such thing as mistake-free football.
Nope.
It's how you recover from your mistakes. It's your consistency overall. You're gonna have drop passes. You're gonna have penalties. This is gonna happen. It's part of the game.
We still had
Jacoby dropped the touchdown pass and left the
yeah.
punt and still came back and scored 3 touchdowns.
We had 10 penalties for 155
Well,
yards.
I mean, some of them were, but
yes, but
yeah, no, but you're always gonna have those things. How you recover, how you overcome it, and that's what they showed today. And the receivers stepped up and made play after play.
And that's something we haven't done in years, is bounce back from mistakes and everything.
In fact,
like,
to your point, Melissa, the same game last year, once someone dropped a pass against A&M, the whole team had the yips right up to the last play where Brashard dropped a first down on the last possession on 4th down. Like, it was just the whole game was drops. And this time, like, they rallied.
Yeah.
After, like, there was every opportunity to fold when Jacoby fumbled that punt. Like, because we just climbed back into the game.
Even
we gave it right back.
Even in his post game, he said, he's like, I was down and the team brought me back up. So obviously people were coming up to him on the sideline, probably telling him, don't worry about it. You got this, whatever. And you can tell there's a lot more chemistry.
Yeah.
But no, Jacoby, I mean, he caught that pass and then readjusted his helmet and then kept running. I was like, I was like, I had to go watch that like 3 times. I mean, did that really just happen?
I mean, I got a good screen grab of it that I put on Twitter if you didn't see it. But
one of the touchdown passes that he got when he was in the end zone, when Tyler was scrambling to the right and he caught it. If you look at that, he readjusts his glove as the ball's coming to him before he catches that pass. It's like dude's just fixing his equipment before every touchdown.
That's good. These guys, I mean, listen, it was fun. It was exciting. You know, let's take that. Let's go with. I don't know why you put it up. It's your fault at this point, bitch.
I mean, I just look, man. It's a kid. You know, we shouldn't.
Yeah, I want $1.5 million in my briefcase right now. So I mean.
Wait, you have a briefcase?
Of course. Who doesn't have a briefcase?
Me.
Yes, anyone this century.
You always have to have a briefcase.
Blue, do you have a briefcase? Nope. Wait,
yeah,
Blue, do you have a briefcase?
No, shit. Shoot. I don't have
Look at this, Josh. You made Blue cuss. It wasn't even me this time.
Of course I don't have a briefcase. What's wrong with you stupid people? Jesus, get it together.
Briefcase. Why would you have a briefcase?
If anyone on this stream had a briefcase, I thought it would have been Blue.
I swear to God, if you get a briefcase at this point, the only reason is to commit a crime. What else do you use the briefcase?
I wear a backpack. That's all I get.
I got
Backpacks, yeah.
That's all I have.
Right?
I have.
Yes, exactly. Never trust a briefcase. Nothing good is happening with a briefcase. It's some kind of. There's either drugs or illegal money in there, or something you have to transport that you have to like chain to your wrist. There's never anything good happening with a briefcase.
Oh man.
Hold on. This is the blockers on the block punt. We made a mistake handing off the blocking assignments. We got to correct it in terms of.
Wasn't it also? It was also less distance because we were like backed up in the end zone. Also.
Well,
it was close.
They made some corrections there, right? The next time you saw it was Restrepo and probably a few other different guys.
No, he's talking about the punt they blocked on like the first possession.
That one.
Where it looked like almost.
I haven't rewatched that part. When I rewatched the game, I started in the second quarter.
Basically, it wasn't touched.
Yeah, and it wasn't. It was several people got, and I think there was some confusion in our blocking scheme, which we.
Yeah.
I literally cussed as it was happening. I saw it happening. It was almost like in slow motion. I was just sitting in my seats, like, oh, yeah. As it was.
And
going
then
on.
I honestly thought Corey Cash played a good game. I don't know what we're talking about.
He did. He got an incredible interception.
I mean, that was the last play of the game, but I thought overall he played fine. So
overall he had a pretty good game. Yeah, he really did.
And I don't understand why.
All I want to know is all these months and months of build-up for a new quarterback in New York, and they got Zach Wilson playing.
Well, because Rodgers got
Aaron Rodgers hurt his ankle on the first drive. There's rumors of a possible Achilles injury from.
Oh, that'll be
everybody's speculating.
Good. Who gives a crap about
that?
All I care is that Tua had a day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tua, for my fantasy victory this week. Because the Bengals shot the bed and Jamar Chase got me like 3 points.
just explode right here in the middle.
Joe Burrow really messed up my
What's
week.
wrong with our fans?
That was not an easy end of game interception.
I'm
He
so
made a great
tired,
play on the
man.
ball.
Damned if you do, damned if you
I
don't.
mean, I don't understand. Everyone's like, when
Also-
on Coach Hayes' show, we went around and did picks, and we were picking us to win. And then here, when Jazz and I picked us to win, all we got was, "You guys are nuts. You're crazy. We're not going to win." We kicked their ass.
Well, you guys are nuts.
Yeah,
and
but that
crazy,
one play,
but-
we missed a block, and I'm like,
This is
what?
true, DJ. That's still the fact. That's still a fact. We are nuts and crazy, but
I
you
know,
guys
but
are
come
right.
on, man. Come on.
everybody was
Can I
talking about
also-
how our
Seriously.
cornerbacks couldn't hang with their wide receivers, that they were going to torch us. Did you guys remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. No. It
Can,
was,
can I also
that
point
was-
out that
people
Corey
know-
Flagg made some excellent plays
Yeah,
coming
he
off
made-
the
he
bench?
should-
Sure, he's the leading
played lights
tackle
out.
the last 2 years.
People give him so much hate. No, but people give him so much hate, and he
Not on
made some
this
really
show,
nice
Mel.
plays.
Not on
Not
this
this,
show.
not this
Corey
show.
Flagg
I know
level.
other
We love
people.
Corey Flag here. Yeah.
I'm just
Corey Flagg
pointing it
lovers.
out. I'm
No, we don't have any word on that. There's a lot of rumors.
finding info about injuries with Mario Cristobal as a head coach is really hard.
Yeah, there's some rumors out there, but just be prepared to see a lot of people on that defensive line play. So,
And Fletcher too. You'll see him probably won't play for a couple of weeks.
yeah, he's probably.
I mean, but do we need to rush these guys back on
No,
a short week?
No.
I'm
3 or
thinking-
4. No, actually, you got a couple of weeks before you really push. So
3.
I mean,
Three.
yeah, because you have Bethune.
So
then
it worked
Temple,
out
then
for
Doing
Bye.
Temple and then a
Good.
bye.
Yeah.
So
And one more
But-
question. One more
But
question.
I would just say, there's a difference between rushing them back. If they're ready, you play them.
Yeah.
There's not that many live game opportunities, and frankly, getting hit helps you not get injured later.
Yeah.
So, if they're not healthy, obviously don't play anyone. It's not 100% this week, but
yeah.
especially on a short week. But
That's
if they're
crazy.
ready, send them out there.
Anthony has a good question, panel. What week do we feel the biggest impact in terms of recruiting after beating A&M last weekend with commitment? I think what he means is when will we start seeing it? We already started seeing it. With
it
Wade and
started
Charles.
with Wade and Charles was a pretty big get. That happened Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah. I also think it helps solidify some of the recruits we already have. I know
You're probably
Chance
gonna see
and
some other guys
Chance and
pop
JoJo were at that game, and so the future of our wide receiver room, they're seeing all those downfield passes and the stats that our receivers have. I
Yeah.
think that helps solidify that they'll be Canes on signing day.
They had a ton of recruits.
You'll
Oh
probably
my
see
God, the
some
list
other
was
guys pop
massive.
in. You'll probably see some other
Yeah.
guys pop in. So just be on that.
I don't know if many of them will be there this Thursday, but that's okay.
Now you make.
I think- Clemson-
let's be true. Many of no one is going to be there
It's
on
the-
Thursday.
yeah. Well, it's a heavy high school football night Thursday. 'cause
It's
there's
everything wrong.
the
It's a
Jewish
Thursday.
holiday on Friday night, so there's
It's
very few
wow.
games.
It's a Thursday
Although
against
it boggles my
Bethune-Cookman.
mind that American Heritage Plantation probably has more of a Jewish population than most Jewish schools, and they're playing Friday night.
Was it the Temple game? Someone on Twitter made a joke that is like, because the Temple game's at 3:30, so like us Jewish Canes fan will go to Temple in the morning and then watch Temple in the afternoon.
I'm
Because
telling
it's
you.
Yom Kippur.
So when they announce attendance is 1, it'll be Gary.
It'll be great. But Thursday,
He is the one. He is the one. No, I mean that's
I'll
just
be
a
out of
rough.
town. I'll be out of town.
That's a rough.
I
trip
wonder
to
if
Nevada
Gary
Stadium.
unblocked me on Twitter because he's not on my block list anymore. Like yeah.
How long is your block list, Melissa? Because I see you all over my Twitter.
She
So I
doesn't
just
block. She doesn't block a lot of people. She engages.
I
with
don't.
them.
They usually block me. I don't know what that says.
Gary, did you unblock her? Please let us know. We need to know before we get
Why
out.
are we playing at Temple so I can travel to a road game easily?
That's called Blake James. That's called the Blake
No,
James.
man, it's an easy trip for me. That 3:30 is clutch. I can get in and out real easily. And be
That's
back
How
in
about
DC every
Boston
4
College
hours.
losing to all these teams, huh?
Yeah,
The
they're
Blake
done.
James effect.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
I
done.
unblocked
Don't
her.
rub it into Mr. Closet Boston
I'm on
College.
probation, guys. I'm on probation.
I mean, you're gonna be. Well, what happened with Blue here?
Wait, Blue disappeared.
Wait,
Where
wait.
we need you.
I went to get.
I'm
Melissa
only
a
on
new
this show
cup.
because Blue's here. I'm just kidding.
Melissa, I
Wait,
went to
hold on.
get you a new cup.
All right, what is
What
this?
color did you Blue? What? Oh, okay, that's fine.
There we go.
That's actually a cool cup.
That is
Yeah.
Blue, one day
That's
we're
it.
gonna meet in person though. I'm gonna need you to come out of the press box so I can get a photo with you.
Tailgate, Blue. You gotta
Blue sounds.
Yeah, you should have
Blue sounds so excited.
Well, I should come.
We're gonna get
like,
DJ down for a game, and I gotta get photos with both of you.
Of the Georgia Tech game.
Well, according to my sister, the purple lot was quite the hike over, but they flagged down someone on a golf cart and got.
Let me tell you something. I've had to walk that crap 2 weeks in a row. I've got Achilles problem.
Blue, we got a flag. Look, he disappeared again.
Oh my God, his Achilles came out.
But he's not lying. Walking around everywhere and then like up and down the stairs and stuff.
And Cam
like
smiled
my quads are sore. Like my muscles were hurting from everything.
This is a good one right here.
Look at Ellen says.
What is that?
A Twitter.
This is the 1984 championship cup.
Wow.
Ellen, I'm not a Twitter bully. I just speak truths, and sometimes people get mad. Honestly, most people that block me are Gator fans that enter my mentions.
This is not the UM.
So
I'm not even gonna lie.
A lot of people.
I will say some of Melissa bullying on Twitter is me saying I'm not cut out for this. Go bully this person for me, and she takes care of it. So you know.
Hey, you were doing a decent job yesterday. You were doing a decent job last night.
You saw that person deleted all their tweets.
I have no idea what she was trying to say. It's really hard to troll somebody when they're a complete idiot.
This is what happens when you get Mel on the show. What does this show become?
I don't know, man. We won.
God.
We won. That's what this is.
Great. Yeah, this is great.
It's a lot easier to do the show and we win.
Oh my gosh, Jeff, you asked that question.
Basketball questions.
You asked that question on their show.
It's time for buckets. Let me throw all of them out of here. Impromptu buckets.
No, we're not answering that question on this show. Watch buckets whenever the hell they go on.
By the way, 100%. It's happening.
Okay, stop it.
It's happening. 100%.
Stop it. It is 100%.
I'm very confident.
No, that one's happening. That's a done deal.
I will be so obnoxious on Twitter. I've already tweeted it out. I will be so obnoxious if this happens.
How will we be able to tell the difference?
Can you please bothering Gary? Bother Gary the whole time on Twitter.
Poor Blue. He's just sitting there trying to do the show, and we're like,
no, I'm actually looking for more paraphernalia to put up.
Brett, everybody loves Blue. He's a legend.
Oh,
everybody loves Blue.
How can anybody not love Blue? Honestly.
Oh,
to Cam got him walking like 3 miles into the stadium.
Oh my God!
Blue's the only reason people are still watching this show right now at this point.
I guess Cam doesn't like Blue, but that's besides the point.
No, actually, Blue, I gotta tell you, I parked in that lot. I thought it was fine. You just walk across the black lot, you're right into the stadium.
You parked in the purple lot?
The first game.
Pimp Down has the right idea. Pimp Down has the right idea on the questions to ask. What the hell are y'all talking about?
I mean, you watched the breakdown Bethune-Cookman's third string left guard that might get into the game in the fourth quarter? Because
I was looking at their stats, and there really is not a lot to break down at all. So I mean, it's not like we're.
Why'd you do that?
Oh wait, Gary, are you a part of Team Chick-fil-A?
So you're. Oh God, this is gonna go way off the rails. But you recall, I actually introduced both of you on Twitter, and then you both slid into my DMs like that person, and you both told me different versions of the backstory about how you got into a fight during the Final Four.
It was something about the Final Four. I honestly don't remember.
But the original
but
way that came to light because I was like, you should get along. You're both like idiotic with the Chick-fil-A stuff, and then you're like both getting my DMs like, not that person.
Gary, I'm wiping the slate clean, Gary. Chick-fil-A for life, Gary. Let's go.
It's horrible food.
Listen, do you cook at all?
Whoa, where are we going?
Okay, all right. No, don't answer that. Don't answer that. I've done enough HR training to know not to answer that question.
That's got to be in the next cut up. For the
boy.
I know how to use the microwave. Does that count?
For the next show.
That has to be on the cut up this for the next intro.
There's not going to be.
There was more to it than Gary, but we'll leave. We're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna leave it.
You can put it on the
yeah, no, we actually talked. I mean, if someone actually wants to talk football, we don't have to be clowns. Yeah, no, we talked about that earlier, and I think I would say the whole team.
I said that was something about like the most important thing I saw was us bouncing back.
Yeah, you're damn right she does.
This is not always true. She's usually drinking apple juice out of a glass.
Chick-fil-A for life.
All right, Blue
I saved my Chick-fil-A cup for today.
Hey,
Blue-
62-12 is my final.
Okay, that's Blue's score. What else we got here?
52-12?
62-6.
62-12. All
So
right.
Goth up
You're
by-
actually giving
by
them double
50.
digits?
All right. 59.
What's the spread?
No more 50.
What is the spread?
Probably
I
like
don't
a
think there is
touchdown.
one.
Yeah, I don't think there is one either. Probably.
You should check Prize Picks.
I don't
Yeah.
even
Oh,
know.
yeah,
If you,
there's
I mean,
that
I'm
plug.
sure you can go over under on TBD stats, but it'll be hard to predict because we don't know
I
how
was
much
just
you'll
trying
play.
to rep the sponsor.
I know. I'm trying to help them win actual money.
Listen, we got to get out of here. I'm done.
All right. So, despite our defunct receivers, he's got us winning 77-3.
Ooh, I don't know
All
about that
running.
one.
All running. All right.
All right. Yes, we can.
We'll see you guys next Monday, but be on the lookout.
Oh wait,
for-
hold on. No, actually, show notes. We are going to do pre and post game on Thursday. Melissa and I will be there for both. DJ maybe. Blue's going to be covering high school football. Jazz is going to be traveling the country.
Thursday's
Wandering
tough, man.
out in the wilderness.
That's right, baby. Wearing my cowboy hat. Let's go.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for coming in there. I appreciate it.
But he
Only
still wants
for
to
you,
know.
Blue.
He still wants to know if we cook, though.
I don't. I don't.
We'll see you guys later this week. Go Canes. Look at that finger. What the hell's going on in this show?
I'm never getting an invite on the show ever again.
Oh my god! No, you never.
I'm about to resign and just let you deal with the fallout from whatever just happened
We're
here.
screwed. Then we have DJ producing the show. We're screwed. See you guys later.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.